Welcome to the Post to Post podcast. The date is July 9th. July 9th, 2017.
Yep.
I am the replacement for Jason. He is usually the Post to Post podcast host. Since I'm here in Prince Edward Island, I'm joined here with my father, Brent. Welcome.
And you are Neil.
I am Neil.
Thank you.
I did not say that. I will say that now, if you don't already know. So we're here today to continue the podcast. Recently, we discussed that maybe the podcast would go on a little bit of a break, but we do have some extra time today, and we thought we'd discuss a few things.
That's great.
And create a little bit more content for people. So there's 3 topics on today's podcast. It's hopefully not going to be too long, but we'll have a pretty good discussion here, hopefully. So topic number 1 is the community that Post to Post has created, and it's pretty special because there's a lot of great people that I've met out there on YouTube. And, people are really nice in the hockey community, and they love talking hockey.
They really are.
It's great. And we've recently started a Discord server. And for those of you who don't know, Discord is just like a chat program where you just, there's different chat rooms within our server, and you can talk about different things in each room. We have a general hockey discussion channel. We have an off-topic channel or room, sorry. And there's great people on there. We've had so many hockey conversations on there the past week. Every morning when I wake up, I go check the messages. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed. There's great people on there. So if you're listening or watching and you're not a part of our Discord, I hope you can join, because we're having some great conversations over there.
I hope so.
I feel like the people who aren't joined are missing out.
It's the interaction part, that you really don't get when you're watching YouTube and you leave comments. That's awesome, but it's not immediate. But Discord is immediate. It's real time. I'm old compared to probably most people, but I remember an old thing called IRC, which stood for Internet Relay Chat.
Yeah.
And it was a real live time, low overhead chat client where you could converse with people by typing in real time. And Discord does that. But Discord also saves the messages. So if you have to go away and you come back, you see all the messages. They're all there and you can, catch up. I'm brand new to Discord. I'm totally a noob when I get on. So if anyone out there is worried about being identified as a neophyte or something, don't. Because that's exactly the ship I'm in right now. And I visit the Discord site, or actually the app on my phone, and I have the app on my computer, and I visit it a couple of times a day. I get notifications if anyone references me and sends me a message. I see that right away. So it's quite awesome. I'd never heard of it before getting involved with you guys, and it's working great.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we made it, is to interact with people. We love having hockey conversations with viewers. We love having interactions with other fellow hockey fans. It's pretty special to be able to interact with people who watch you. And I know there's been comments, like a lot of YouTubers don't really discuss what's going on with their channel. They don't really talk to people in the comment section. I try and talk to as many people as possible, because that's really one of the reasons why I made the channel, is to create a safe place where a fan from any team, if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan and you want to come to the channel and talk about the Philadelphia Flyers, my goal is that it's a safe place for you to come and do that. And if a Pittsburgh fan comes in and sees a Philadelphia Flyers fan, maybe they can have a little conversation respectfully between their two teams. I just want it to be a safe place where people can come and talk and not get bashed or be disrespected. I like to preach respect, and there's a lot of respectful people within the Discord and within the YouTube channel. So it's been great getting to know everyone.
It's awesome, and it needs to be a safe place. And hockey, what we're doing here, what you're doing here in particular, and I'm just a tag along, but hockey is the greatest team sport on the planet, and the word respect is ingrained in how hockey is played. It's not always exercised every night on the ice, but it's part of the game, having respect, not diving and, not disrespecting your opponents or the officials, and obviously people get hot-headed, and people will get hot-headed in chat rooms and leaving comments as well. But I think you've done a great job in trying to moderate and make sure that everyone comes in with an ecumenical mind, where I'm obviously a passionate Montreal Canadiens fan, but more so I'm a fan of the game and the legacy that hockey has left. And being a Canadian person and Canada and hockey being so closely tied together in their identities, I'm happy that hockey is now being shared worldwide, and your particular broadcast is going worldwide and getting a lot of interest from Europe and the United States and elsewhere. And I think that's probably a function of people who are passionate about hockey but don't live in Canada. They're not bombarded, even in the summertime, every day with hockey news.
That's right, yeah.
And on Post to Post all through the summer, they'll be able to still get their hockey fix. And if everyone comes into Discord and leaves comments that are constructive and appreciative of other people's passions, it's going to be a great place.
Well, I think the real success of Post to Post recently in the past 3 months have not really been due to me, but due to the people I surround myself with, like yourself, like Jason, like Justin, Andy from the UK, Andy from the UK, who, his suggestion was the Discord channel. And then we have so many other people. Brad from Newfoundland. There's just a great group of people here contributing to the channel, making things safe and making things just a great spot to talk hockey. And that's really what the goal is. I mean, the literal motto of the channel is all things hockey, and no one should be afraid to come here and talk hockey, regardless of who they cheer for.
That's right. And it also, what I've noticed about the channel is that it's quite age friendly, no matter what demographic you
we
come
do
from.
have a lot of younger viewers. We have older viewers. It's a pretty broad audience. Yeah.
And I think the parents and guardians of younger viewers who are maybe 9 or 12 or whatever age they may be, I think it's a good thing if they feel fairly safe that their child is interacting in a community that they will be safe as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I try and keep it as PG as possible.
Sure.
In my personal life, if you know me, I do swear.
You get up into the R.
Yeah, but I definitely keep that out of the videos, keep that out of the podcast. It should be a safe place for people to come and discuss hockey. So a big thank you to everyone who has left a comment on YouTube, who has interacted with me or any other fan of this great game in Discord. Anyone who sent me a personal or private message, either email, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you've done any of those things, you are the reason that we are here talking hockey. So thank you.
And I think the last thing I'd say on this is, since the last podcast was done a week ago, you have hit over 12,000 subs on YouTube.
Yeah, 12,300, I think, as of today. And I think close to 1.2 million views channel-wide, which is pretty great. I'm very happy and pleased with the growth. It's gone well beyond my imaginations for the first year. So
if someone had told you back in January that you'd have 12,000 plus subscribers by sometime in July, you'd probably think they were drinking or smoking something.
They were smoking the good stuff, I think. That's not really something that was even imaginable at that point. It was, I don't want you to go back and watch my earlier videos because they are terrible, but at that point, it was just about becoming a better speaker, just having fun, doing it for myself, not really with a big goal in mind. The goal was 500 by the end of the year, and even then, I thought that was a bit ambitious.
Yeah, I think you'll get there.
I think so. Yeah.
I think you got there in the 1st of February.
Yeah, I think so.
Or something like that.
Which is quite great. So it's mind-blowing. And we're to the point now where people are contributing on Patreon. Shane, Gary, there's a few others. Sorry, I forget your names.
Yeah, just brand new.
Brand new as of today and yesterday. It's been great. It's been really humbling, I guess, to get that support. So
yeah, and with that growth in subscribers and interest comes a degree of responsibility.
Oh yeah.
To continue to produce ever better.
And that's the ultimate goal, is to grow not only as a person and a producer or an entertainer, I guess, a creator, but also to provide better quality content for the viewers at home, because they deserve it. They deserve to see a progress in their channel. better lights, more cameras or better cameras, better audio, more variety of videos and ideas and interaction with people. And that's the goal, just to keep growing, to keep it fresh, to keep new ideas coming. Maybe going back to your age comment, I try and do a lot of videos that kind of open the door to a lot of people. So it's the serious hockey talk that we do. That's maybe for the more mature hockey audience, the logo ranking videos and stuff, even though that's fun and some older people do like it. A lot of the kids like that because it's more entertaining, it's funny, it's graphical, it's not boring.
Rating mascots.
Yeah, it's just silly. It's kind of silly content. So I try to do a little bit of that and a little bit of serious stuff, and hopefully someone can come to the channel and find something they like. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, well, I think you're doing great so far, but I'm a little biased.
You're a little biased, yeah. Let's move on to the second topic. And there's actually a lot of things to talk about, but I was thinking last night, what team has really made the biggest step forward to improve themselves for the coming year based on the year that just passed? And there was a lot of terrible teams in this year that just passed. And there's a lot of huge strides being made. Arizona made some huge decisions recently. But I think the team that made the best leap forward is Dallas.
Yeah.
They've made some incredible changes, some incredible moves, acquisitions, firings. And I just want to discuss it a little bit because I think it's important. Before I get into this, I have to give a shout out to Brandon Renfro. And in Dallas, he's my friend. He sent me this hat. Fro, if you're watching or listening, thank you, sir. Now, Dallas has made at least 5 important moves in the past 3 months. Mm-hmm. Number 1 was hiring Ken Hitchcock, a very successful coach in the National Hockey League, a very tenured coach. He's been with Dallas before. He's recently been with St. Louis. It's going to be interesting. I think that's an okay decision for the Dallas franchise. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Moving on, they've picked up Ben Bishop. So I'm not really as high on Ben Bishop as others, but I think he'll be great for the team. It's definitely better than what they had, but I have some question marks there. He was 22nd in 5-on-5 save percentage over the last 3 seasons, so that's not really fantastic numbers. He does have some injury issues. He has some problems there, but I think he can get past it if he can be healthy and get back into his consistent state. I think he'll be really well for the team. So I'm very happy about that. Moving on, Alexander Radulov, that's a huge pickup. I mean, when Alexander Radulov is your 3rd best forward on your team, you're pretty good up front. So I'm excited to see him play there. We'll discuss this all more in depth here in a second. But Martin Hansel was another one. So, big name. He does contribute, but for the money they got him for, I think we discussed this the other day, we believe they overpaid a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a little bit of an experiment, I think. Moving on, lastly, to Mark Mathot, a huge defensive addition to the team. He had quite a run with Ottawa. It was a lot of fun to watch. So pretty happy to see him on my 3rd favorite team, Dallas. I think it's going to be a great addition to the defensive core, but there's still work to do. So I just wanted to mention one other thing before we discuss it a little further. They have 8 draft picks next year. They have the ability to trade some of those to get some key pieces. And they need key pieces because when I look at their lines, there's problems. So on the first line, we have, this is my projected first line. So Jamie Benn, who's a left winger, Tyler Seguin, who plays center and right wing, and Radulov, who's a right winger. So I see Seguin in the middle, playing center there. Line number 2, you have Spezza, who's a center, and Ritchie, who's a right winger. And then they're a little loose on left wingers, so maybe McKenzie, I'm not sure. And then the third line, you have Hansel, who's a center, and then Shore on the left wing, and Roussel on the left wing, and Shore on the right wing. And Shore is a right winger. Things don't line up. So because Seguin plays center and right wing, it depends on where they want him. So if Seguin wants to play right wing, well, then Radulov has to move down to the second line. Either Spezza or Hansel has to move up to the first line, and it would be Ben, Hansel, and Sagan. And on the second line, it would be Spezza, Radulov, and Ritchie. But then Radulov and Ritchie are both right wingers. So who's going to play left wing? They have some work to do. There's logistical line issues there that they need to figure out. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're going to have to either have left wingers playing right wing or right wingers playing left wing, depending on how they structure the lines, which is possible, but it could take a few months to get into the groove, and it's not ideal. You want to have people on your team that fit all the roles right from the start, right? So I'm curious if they use any of those 8 draft picks to maybe acquire some key pieces to structure the lines a little bit better. And their defensive core, even though they got Mark Method, they need to do some work there. Right now, it's the biggest hole in the team, and I hope they address it further on in the summer, because I don't know if that defensive core can make a long playoff run, but we'll see. And the last thing I wanted to mention was they got 2.9 million cap space, which isn't really a lot. They're pretty close to the ceiling of the cap, so I'm wondering if they're going to make some more moves to free up some more cap space, but I don't think there's really a lot of moves they can make, so it's going to be interesting to watch the rest of their offseason. But what's your thoughts on Dallas?
Well, I think they're a team that's always there to surprise. If you look at the year before last, Dallas finished first in the Western Conference.
They did, and they made it to the second round.
Yeah, they finished first in their division. They had like 106 points or something. But the year before that, they weren't great. And last year, we know how they were. They were 15 points out of a playoff spot last year.
Yeah, they underperformed. That was a much better team than what showed on the stats.
Mm-hmm. One place they may find money is with the acquisition of Bishop. I think people are figuring that he's going to be the starting goalie. They already have another goalie on the roster who's actually making more than Bishop, and that's Kari Lehtinen.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
Who starts?
Yeah.
Who do you get? Kari Lehtinen, who has struggled a bit, or do you get your new guy, Ben Bishop, to be your starter, who, in my opinion, should be the starter? I think Bishop has to be the starter.
Oh, has to be.
But Kari Lehtinen wants to be the starter. He's been vocal about this. Is he going to be happy playing backup again or fighting for that top spot? Probably not. But
I don't see it. And they've clearly expressed a preference, because even though Kari Lehtinen's making more money this year, this is his last year.
Yes.
Bishop is signed for almost $5 million for the next 5 years.
Exactly, yeah. They've made their decision.
That's right. It's done.
Kari Lehtinen knows he's on his way out eventually, probably. Or if he stays, the next year he's going to have to accept less money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious to watch the progression of Dallas this year, but I honestly think they're going to jump up the standings. I would bet money that they would make the playoffs.
Yep.
And I would bet money that they would probably at least make it to into the second round. So
I hope they do. I'd like to see Radulov playing as long as possible next season.
Yeah, absolutely.
I watched him. I adored him as a Canadian last year. I wish Montreal could have found a way to keep him. But he's going to produce offensive punch. But I think more so he's going to produce excitement among the fans. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that's going to be standing on the bench when someone else scores, and he's going to be having the biggest celebration from the bench. He's infectious. And I think that's what they're getting when they sign Radulov to such a long deal. I hope his enthusiasm wasn't just also a rental with Montreal last year, that the enthusiasm continues. And now you've got Method back with Spezza on the same team, they would have been on the same team not too long ago.
Yeah.
So that's probably gives Method a little more comfort in the room when he gets in there, rather than, because he looked a little, kind of taken aback with the draft and then the trade, and I think he's been like a ping pong ball for a while. So I think he'll settle down and do well. Hopefully,
it's going to be. You feel bad for him, because he was, like you said, he's kind of ping ponged around. He went to Las Vegas. Now he's in Dallas. Lots of emotional roller coasters happening there, but it's going to be interesting to watch and see what Dallas can do.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing I want to talk about is the John Tavares situation. This has been talked about probably for the last year. Is he going to sign with the Islanders? Is he going to go somewhere? Does he even want to go anywhere else, or does he want to stay? Like, who knows? Is it up to the Islanders to keep pressing him, or do you give him a little bit of leniency and let him decide and come to the Islanders, okay, let's talk money, let's do it. Like, you don't want to pressure him too much, put too much on his shoulders to re-sign, because he might just get frustrated and be like, okay, I'm gone. So he's currently making $5.5 million. How much is he worth?
Well,
whether he goes to the Islanders or whether he goes to wherever else, we can discuss where else. But how much do you think he's worth? Because we've got Crosby making 8.7, you've got Connor McDavid making 12.5, you've got Anze Kopitar making 11 million, you've got Jonathan Toews making 10.5, Patrick Kane making 10.5. The list goes on.
He's been playing in the New York Islanders all of his life,
yes,
all of his pro life or career, with the exception of a brief trip over to Europe during the labor dispute a couple of years ago. I think his worst season, once he matured, was like 66 points, and he's usually in the 75, 80 range. I would say these days I would pay 7 or 7.5 for that.
Ooh,
I would.
I think that's low.
Oh,
I think that's low. I think he's going to get 10.
Wow.
10 to 11. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm not saying there's not someone out there that wants to pay that. I'm just, what would I pay? He's still young.
He's what, 27?
26
yeah.
right now, yeah. So he's still young, so, he's got a lot of productivity left. But, wow, 10's a lot for, he's been a very shining light on a team that's been kind of dull. I don't know how he does. Maybe on a better team he does way better. Maybe on a better team he doesn't stand out as much as well. So I don't know. I would, he's a center. And, of course, Montreal must be licking their chops thinking of a guy like that. They've got cap space.
Well, that's kind of what I'm going to lead into here. What other teams does he fit on?
Ooh.
There's been talks about Toronto. Does he fit in Toronto? He does fit in Toronto, but in a cap situation, he doesn't. Because in the next couple of years, you've got to sign Matthews. You have to sign Marner. You have to sign Nylander. All three of these players are going to be getting probably plus $6 or $7 million. Matthews probably going to be close to 10 or more.
And for the next 3 years, you're weighed down with Marleau.
Yeah, and Marlowe's making $8 million. So Matthews is probably going to get close to 10. Marner's probably going to be around 7 or 6. Nylander's going to be around the same area. And then if you have Tavares making 10 or whatever,
the math doesn't work.
That's like half of your cap space. So
especially when you're still paying money for Phil Kessel.
Yeah, you're paying $1.2 million for Phil Kessel for the next 4 years, which blows my mind because he was bought out, or he was salary retention. Sorry. So I don't think he goes to Toronto. There's no way that deal makes sense to me. But Montreal, let's talk about Montreal. He's a center. It's what Montreal needs. They need a center, a true centerman. But does Montreal have the assets to send back to the Islanders to make them happy? We've got Galchenyuk. There are a few prospects that could pose some interest, but I don't think Montreal has what it takes to land Tavares.
I don't think
logistically.
I don't think so. Like they have the money to pay him if they were able to get their hands on him.
Yep, they have the money,
but they don't have the assets that the Islanders would want to have to let him go early. And if he's allowed to go all the way to the marketplace next year, negotiating, probably there will be a team out there that will pay him $10 million, and it won't be Montreal. I think
Montreal would make that offer.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Because they're losing 6 with Plekanec, so they're really just paying 4 more for Tavares.
And Radulov's gone now, so
Radulov's
they've
gone.
got that money.
Well, with Radulov's contract and Plekanec's, that's $10 million right there. So I don't know. There's every team in the league is going to be making an offer probably to John Tavares, so it's going to be tough.
Will he want to come to Canada?
Yeah, because there's the tax situation. There's the
the laser beam spotlight in Montreal particularly, and that would have been the case for Toronto too. He's from Mississauga. He's a Toronto-based guy.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean he'd be favorably disposed to playing in Canada.
So why do you think he hasn't made up his decision yet? Is he worried about the Islanders organization, their front office, the top head honchos, what the future holds for that organization? Do you think he's worried and that's why he hasn't signed? Or do you think it's just part of the negotiation process?
I struggle to think that it would be that he's worried about the health of the organization, because in some form or other, a National Hockey League franchise, in whatever form it is worth a lot of money, and it's going to be playing somewhere. If it moves or changes names or does something else in the next couple of years, He'll be fine. So I don't know. I have no idea. I've not done a lot of reading into what his mindset might be. Obviously don't know the guy. But, he's sitting in the catbird seat. He's making a lot of money already, and he's due to make a lot more. And he's a young fella, and he's well regarded. He's going to be a hot property next year. He could just, play hard like usual this year and probably get a bunch of checks passed across the table at him next year, and he doesn't have to worry.
That's kind of what Stamkos went through. Mm-hmm. He waited until, not the very end, but, he waited a long time. People were worried that he was going to leave Tampa Bay Lightning. The fans were concerned, and luckily the deal got done, but John Tavares could be a very similar situation. Mm-hmm. So
I didn't look, and I should have before because I knew we were going to talk about this, but does he have a no-move or a no-trade
I believe he has a no-movement clause, yeah.
Yeah, so
right now.
That doesn't mean he can't be moved, but it means that there are special conditions attached if they wanted to move him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I should check right now just to confirm that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time limit. This is a podcast.
That's right. We're doing this in real time.
Yeah. Okay. Islanders. Find John Tavares. He has a modified no-trade clause, so he probably has a select 15 teams or whatever that he can't get traded to, and the other teams are open market. Who knows?
And nobody will know who that list
exactly,
is.
Exactly.
Including
no one knows who the list is, and no one knows how many teams are on that list. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's announced when contracts are signed. I think Phaneuf has a contract that's pretty open. All those teams that he would accept is public knowledge. Mm-hmm. Same with Emelin. I think his clause is public knowledge.
Yeah, because I think in the case of Phaneuf, they asked him, would you open that up a little bit, to extend it and expand it? And he's like, no.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps it up for our discussion. It wasn't as long as most podcasts are, typically. Usually we've been in the hour range, but half an hour. I think we're about half an hour.
Yeah, and
half an hour.
Now that we've got this, we've got this little studio built, a makeshift studio, at least for now. We can probably, I don't say commit, but we can probably predict that we will have the opportunity to maybe stay on a weekly schedule.
Yes, that was kind of the worry that we wouldn't be able to, but it's looking like we're going to have lots of time to talk. So that's great news for us and for hopefully the viewers. Hopefully they enjoy this. So yeah, thanks for joining me today.
And with the magic of technology and the interwebs, you can still bring in Justin and Jason and other participants, and it'll sound like maybe it always used to.
Yeah, hopefully we can get maybe them to call in and figure out how that would work. But all right, well, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Really appreciate it. If you are new to Post to Post and you're listening to iTunes or Google Play, we have a YouTube channel. If you haven't already figured that out from the first conversation that we had, hope you can head over there and hit the subscribe button, or at the very least check out a few videos and see if you like them. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this and this is your first video, hope you hit the subscribe button and join us here. If you like this video, hit the like button on YouTube. If you like the podcast and you're listening to the audio version, leave us a review on iTunes and Google Play. That definitely helps a lot. And hope here's to the future of podcasts and videos and the community in general. Make sure you go check out the Discord server. I will put a link in the description on YouTube. And if you guys could check that out and join, have some hockey conversations with us, that would be amazing. I can't wait to meet new people and interact with you guys. If you have social media and you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, Post to Post Show. Go search me, go follow me. And yeah, just interact with me and have some fun in this hockey community. That's all I got.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Got it all covered.
Got it all covered. We'll see you later. Adios.
Bye.